First up, we're looking for approval of the agenda if no changes. Motion and support. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Next up is public comment. Public, you have 3 minutes to address the board. And Avis, this would be your moment in time.
16. Good morning, and it's great to be here. And my name is Avis Campbell. And I'm here because my present term as Board of Canvassers expires the end of this month. And I would really appreciate very much your supporting me to get me back to the Board of Canvassers. It's an outstanding program. And I'll give you just a couple of little spots of my background. And I started in elementary education, and while I was there, I decided I wanted to be a teacher. And this was out at Katz Elementary in Munich. And so I was encouraged to get involved. At that time, it was called Jackson Community College, in an associate degree, which I did. And then I followed it up with one in arts also. Well, by the time I completed those 2 degrees, I knew I didn't want to be a teacher. So I thought, we'll think about that one for a minute. So what I did was I had the opportunity to move to Liberty Township, and I was accepted a position at Jackson Community College. Of course, now it's Jackson College, in the skilled trades, and that was a great learning experience. So then I moved from skilled trades to criminal justice, and I completed my Bachelor of Arts degree at Spring Arbor College. I became an owner and an operator of Sandstone Apartments in Napoleon. I left JCC for full-time commitment to those apartments. I am a member of the Republican Executive Board, friend of the Library Award for the year 2016. I'm a member of the Drug Summit Work Group, which is chaired and directed by Prosecutor Jarzinka. Very active and involved in politics at the local, community, state, and national levels. Being a canvasser has been a great learning experience. Much of the info revealed in numbers has been applied in our community during the campaign, election preparation, and application of information during the election process. I am an online student at Hillsdale College with the history classes, including the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, Winston Churchill, C.S. Lewis, religion, and Greek history. It's an outstanding program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Avis. Any other public comment? Hearing none, public comment is closed. Takes us down to minutes of the August 14th meeting. Motion and support. Any changes or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. I'm sorry? Oh. Takes us to appointments, and we have first up the Sanitary Code Board of Appeals, public. Alternate members are still open with no applicants. Emergency Management, John Polacek vacated that seat. It's been open. There's no applicants listed, but my understanding is we have a commissioner that has agreed to step up, and I would nominate Sarah. Any other nominations from the floor? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried, and her name will be forwarded to the full board. The Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, I guess I hadn't, and the chair hadn't realized that we had an opening there, but we have no, we do not?
They're waiting for
Very good. Board of Canvassers, we have one from each political party. And first up is the Republican public member. Avis Campbell is the current member and an applicant. And 2 other applicants are Wanda Brieger and Robert Donahue. And we'd be looking for a nomination.
I'd nominate Avis Campbell.
Okay, a motion and support. Any other nominations from the floor? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the same. Avis, your name will be forwarded on to the full board for the meeting next week.
Very, very much.
One public member, Lou Adams is the current member, did not appear to reapply. There are 3 names, Susan Smalley, John Snyder, and Ellen Brooks. I'm not familiar with any of them and have heard from none of them. And we have none of our Democrat commissioners here today, so our options are to pick one, and there could be nominations from the floor next week, or whatever the pleasure of the board is.
Can we just wait for our full board to be here and just leave it for our Tuesday meeting?
Let's just forward all 3 names.
Yeah.
Right now,
Yeah. Okay, well, with a motion, we will forward all 3 names, and we'll have a standing committee meeting, I guess, of affairs if we need to, in agencies. Is that a motion, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Motion and support. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. And that is it for appointments. Takes us to Conservation District. Good morning.
Good morning. My report will cover activities that the Conservation District has been involved in since I appeared here last in March. Our tree sale this year was the best one we've had in a while. It's the first time that I know of that we actually sold every single tree, and I didn't have to peddle trees out of my garage for months. So that was very successful this year. We're continuing with we still have no-till grass grain drill rentals, and I think we have 6 customers to date. It's out right now. It'll be back, and we have another guy that's interested. So that rental's going very well. Some of the events that we did Project Red again this year. I was the teacher contact, and we had a couple group leaders from the Conservation District that was there. In the report, it said that we led the fruit and vegetable session. That was last year. That was 2016. I forgot to take that out. So we had 1,252 third graders there this year, which is a huge number. We did the Earth Day celebration again in the park. We were the lead organization on that. Adopt a Stream program in May was actually canceled because of high water, and there's barely no water in the Grand River right now. The Learning Fair in July, we partnered with the Jackson County Farm Bureau, and we handed out handouts and a farm charm activity, and they had a great turnout, probably over a couple hundred kids that had stopped by the booth. We had a Jackson County Fair booth again. We did nitrate and nitrite well water testing. Information was handed out at the fair, and people stopped in on Friday with their samples, the Friday after the fair. Sprayer clinic was just this past Thursday. There was 50-plus farmers there at Faced Farms out in Pleasant Lake. And also on Sunday, we participated, and I was a group leader in the great annual river cleanup that they do. We cleaned from Morel to our High Street, one of the High Street bridges to Morel. Some of the workshops and presentations, we did a recycling presentation in April to the Boy Scouts, another recycling presentation to Vandercook Lake Elementary School, Arbor Day celebration in April. We did a Where Does Our Food Come From? Composting workshop in June, recycling presentation on August 25th. It's a new thing that they did out at Cascades right before the Civil War muster. It was National Parks Foundation, Every Kid in a Park. There were 383 fourth graders present, and they went from station to station hearing different session topics, and then they received 4 national park passes for 2018. One of the big volunteer opportunities we had this year was a scrap tire collection event. We had one within the city limits at the fairgrounds on August 19th. We collected almost 2,000 scrap tires. We had 4 volunteers, and then Rives, Tompkins, Leone, Pulaski, Hanover, Sandstone, Springport, Parma, and Henrietta Townships all combined to hold a total of 8 other events. And total, we collected almost 10,000 tires this summer. Grant administration, current grants that we hold right now, we still have our Conservational Technical Assistance Initiative, Engineer, Hunter Access Program, Scrap tire grant this year was for $20,000, and we received a Jackson Community Foundation grant for $5,000 to help with the recycling manager that we have. We did a recycling survey for Jackson County. Some of the events that the recycling coordinator has done this year, school education programs as well as community outreach. We developed a county recycling website beside the county website where all basic recycling information is. Email blasts, monthly newsletters are being sent to our mailing list. A recycling brochure and recycling guide has been developed and it has been updated yearly with current information. We're working with the Grass Lake Times and Brooklyn Exponent to publish quarterly recycling articles in their papers. And we're working with Polly's Country Market to supply them with hard-to-find recycling bags, especially the blue ones. You can't find those anywhere, and you need those for Granger. And finally, the 2017 Household Hazardous Waste Collection is coming up on September 23rd. We're also working with consumers. They're giving us a small, $1,500 and to help with the e-waste recycling cost this year. Earth Day celebration, I already talked about that. Some grant opportunities that we have for 2018. Scrap tire grant we will apply for again. It's going to probably be coming out pretty soon, and it's usually due mid-October, and then they take forever to tell us, and we find out in probably March or April. We'll probably apply, this year we applied for 20,000, we had to ask for a little bit more, so next year we'll probably apply for more. With Recycling Jackson, we are going to go for another Jackson Community Foundation grant to try to make our program manager a full-time job, at least for that year. And our big one right now is we are working on the Michigan Invasive Species Grant through the Department of Natural Resources. Actually, the county approached me to help, and now my name is on the grant, so it would be our grant. That's due September 18th. I'm working with Kristen Pluta. She's been wonderful, but right on September 19th, I think that you should give her the day off because she's doing a really good job, and it's been pretty stressful. She didn't even know what an invasive species was until this grant, so yeah. That's a $150,000 grant. It will be housed in Jackson County. It will cover Lenawee, Washtenaw, and Jackson, so it'll hire a full-time coordinator for those 3 counties. Let's see. Some upcoming events. Jackson County Farm Fest is coming up on September 16th. This year's sites include Curtis Farm, Nellie's Lavender Estate, and YMC Store Camp. Like I said before, Household Hazardous Waste is on September 23rd from 9 to 2 at the fairgrounds. Adopt a Highway will be September 23rd to October 1st. We don't have a date set yet. And the Adopt a Stream Monitoring Program will be September 24th. And then all the end of the year stuff that we have coming on. I'm going to tell you all right now that our annual dinner is planned on January 23rd. We are going to have the DNR invasive species lady come and give a talk about invasive species in Jackson County. And then I've already started planning for the 2018 tree sale. So that's about it. Is there any questions?
Commissioners, any questions for Lori? None? Lori, thanks for the great
Thank you.
report. Next up, we have the front of the court semi-annual report. Sarah?
Good morning. Just a slight change on my report. I put August 30th, which was the date I submitted the report, which actually should say September 10th. So today is September 10th, not August 30th. I know, otherwise I'm really late. Oh my gosh, it is the Monday. Yeah, all right. So hopefully everyone's had their coffee because I have not. Our 2016-2017 improvement goals. This is a follow-up from where we've been at. We're looking at our 2016 goals, or what our activity report was for our appointments, parenting time complaints, support reviews completed in order to show cause collections versus our year-to-date this year. We're right on track with a lot of these. Regarding the parenting time complaints, I was hoping to actually see those numbers go down. To me, it's not a good thing to see higher parenting time complaints, and we did see an initial drop-off, but we happen to have a patch of some difficult families that are going through a lot of problems. And so we're seeing a rise in parenting time complaints, but I think it's family specific. And so we're reaching out to those families to try to get some extra care and attention to them to help resolve the matters so that they're not repeatedly going through parenting time complaints. But the trend seems to be that it is going down, so we are happy about that. And our support reviews completed, we're right on par with where we should be. Our order to show cause collections, we've shown improvement. We're continuing to encourage clients to come to the hearings with payment. We're a little less sympathetic to the I can't find a job mentality because we have staffing agencies in our office right there every week to get people jobs, whether it's the custodial parent or the non-custodial parent. So we also have job blasts and hiring fairs, things like that, that we are aware of, that we are sending our clients to. So when they come to our office at show cause time and say, well, I can't get a job, we're a little less sympathetic to that because we are providing employment opportunities to our clients. And we are holding them accountable. So if they are saying that they can't, then we walk them right down the hallway to the staffing agency and get them signed up. And these are positions that have openings for people with felonies, criminal histories, things like that, no driver's license, multitude of barriers. We have jobs that people can be connected with. So we're happy to see that. And the collections are increasing as a result. The Jackson County performance incentives, now these are the incentive factors that the state measures us and we get our revenue for. I have a couple of different counties in here that I like to compare us to that are similar in size, as well as some that are more our goal numbers to be at, Washtenaw County being one of them. And as you can see, we're in good shape halfway through the year for those incentive factors. The support order percentage is one that we're not meeting the state goal as of yet, and the goal is 81%, so we're not that far off. And the current support percentage, the goal is 71%. So it is difficult to move a percentage point, but we are close and we're getting there. Up and coming projects, very excited for the Court Innovations project. This ties into our hearings and our show cause hearings for collections. We're working with this project to get text messaging and text notifications to our clients for our show cause hearings. A lot of counties, you'll see it if you ever get a parking ticket in these other counties, they send you a text to let you know that you got a parking ticket and you have the opportunity to pay the ticket or negotiate the ticket online. And the same is going to work for us. We're going to be sending text notifications to the parties, letting them know that they have a hearing. They can either contact us via text or via the online platform, negotiate it, pay it out, and not ever have to set foot in our office or go before the court. So Ottawa County is one of the counties that is piloting or has started this project several years, or I think they're on their third year now with it. And they typically would schedule 200 to 300 show cause hearings a month. And they are down to less than 20 people having to actually come to the office and hear their cases. The rest all get settled, so they get the payment. And for us, we're at a no-show rate of over 50%. 50% of the people don't even come to our office. And then of those, we have to negotiate the payment. So it's going to reduce a lot of the traffic in our hallway. People don't like to come to court, and if they can do it on their phone, they're going to do it. So we're really excited at the opportunity for us to have that technology and work forward towards it. The Families Forward demonstration, that is still ongoing. We are scheduled to start seeing clients within the next 2 months for that. And that's our project where we are going to be working closely with non-custodial parents that are underemployed, get them educational services free of charge, get them job placement to better paying jobs, better or higher skill set jobs. And then the purpose of the study is to measure whether or not they're able to support their families better, which is kind of a no-brainer, but we have to have a study to say, yes, this actually helps. And the goal with that is that if we can show that that's successful, that the state will hopefully start implementing that project statewide and fund it. The self-representation pilot, divorce pilot, that's an opportunity for clients that don't have attorneys to have simpler forms and be able to navigate the legal system smoother. That is at a standstill right now until we get the Families Forward demonstration up and seeing clients, because we don't want to have too many irons in the fire. So our in-progress goals, the support review is completed within 60 days. We're close on that. We have some that are getting done within 60 days, but not all of them, so we're still working towards that. We're still working on improving our incentive factors and comparing them with those like-sized counties. It's interesting because with all of our efforts, we still haven't moved in our placement compared to those other counties, but I don't know how much of it is because they're doing the same things we're doing, so everybody's improving, or if we just haven't quite beat them yet. So the little competitive nature in me wants to get on that. So any questions about what I presented to you?
Commissioners, Sarah?
Up on your table that has the support order percentage and all that stuff, what does that mean? Like support order enforcement or paying on time, or I guess, I mean, I know what a support order is, I come from this, but
Right.
I'm not understanding what you're referencing as far as support order percentage, like, what is it?
Sure. Support order percentage is the number of open cases in our county that do not have a support order attached to them yet. So they've come to the 40 office and said, I need a child support order. And so they measure how many of those open cases there are versus how many cases have been established and that person has an order and it is in place. It's not whether or not it's paying, it's whether the 4D realm has done their job as far as getting an order for them. And then the current support percentage is what the current charge is for a particular case and how close we are to collecting that full amount. So if it's $100 a month and we're only collecting $80 a month, then our percentage would be 80%. So that's what it's measuring. Yep.
Any other questions for Sarah? Thank you.
Okay.
Next, we have the Youth Center semi-annual report, and I bet there's a Chuck Baker going to give it.
That would be me.
Good morning.
Morning. Thank you. So from January, beginning of January through the end of August this year, the average daily population at the Youth Center was 15.6 residents in our detention program. That includes 2 waiver residents. Those are juveniles that are being charged as adults but being held at the Youth Center, and 1 out-of-county resident. We've had the opportunity, since we've been below capacity, to rent out some bed space to other counties. We've also had 5.5 residents in our residential treatment program and another out-of-county resident in our residential treatment program as well. We've had a total of 194 admissions, with 134 of those being male and 60 of them being female. The Youth Center's had an enjoyable and productive spring and summer. We've continued our partnership with the Youth Arts Alliance program, which is a 3-county collaboration between Jackson, Washtenaw, and Monroe counties. And the intent of that program is an effort to reduce residents' acting out behaviors and improve their coping skills by exposing them to the creative arts. This summer, the Youth Center partnered with the Youth Arts Alliance program to develop and implement a mindfulness, yoga, gardening program. The Youth Arts Alliance program provided a master gardener who conducted weekly hands-on educational lessons with the residents of our residential treatment program. And that program began in May and will continue through fall harvest. Those residents have learned a great deal about cultivating fruits and vegetables while also engaging in mindfulness and yoga activities. We've begun to harvest some of their produce, and they've had the opportunity to use some of the produce in their meals that we've served at the Youth Center. So the residents have found that program to be very beneficial and rewarding, and I've included some pictures for you guys to see kind of what that garden and greenhouse setup looks like actually out on our campus. In July, the Youth Center held its annual Employee Appreciation Picnic. During that picnic, the staff voted on the Youth Center's annual awards, and the following employees were recognized for their dedication to the Youth Center's mission, vision, and values. Mike Jones, our first shift supervisor, was nominated as the Support Staff of the Year. Joe Beauchamp, our second shift youth specialist, was the Residential Employee of the Year, and Lisa Wagner Medina, second shift youth specialist, was the Employee of the Year in our detention program. And then in August, those staff had the opportunity to attend an annual conference with the Michigan Juvenile Detention Association, where they were recognized for their efforts amongst their peers from across the state. and they had an enjoyable time there. Are there any questions for the youth center?
Chuck, the numbers that you reported out at the beginning, do you know how those compare to last year for the same time period?
I believe they're up just a bit from last year, but not significantly.
Commissioners, any other questions? Sarah?
Do you know, have we had space to rent, like, only one bed, two beds? Like, on average, what would be a number that we could rent out to other counties?
Our maximum capacity in our detention program is 24 beds.
Yeah.
So if we have, on any given day, 16, that would give us 8 beds potentially we could be renting out. On average, we've had one of those beds rented out, but there have been times where we've had multiple, 4 or 5 of those beds rented out, and then there are times when we may not have any. So we always make Jackson County residents our priority. We never turn down Jackson County residents due to an out-of-county resident.
Got it.
Okay. Any other questions, Commissioners? Steve?
What is the youth home's relationship with dealing with the opioid epidemic within the youth? Are we able to get the kids counseling, or are they just serving out there?
Yes, certainly it's something we've seen the impact of that at the youth center, unfortunately. We do have counselors that we have a contract with a local counseling agency to provide counseling services for residents at the youth center. And one of those counselors being dual diagnosis certified, so he is able to work with substances, specifically with opioids. Yes.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have J.C. Dot with several topics, not issues, topics. No issues.
No issues,
No
right. Several items, 6, I believe, right? Okay. First up, item 4F is Cooper's Pip Processing. Fairly routine request to award $140,000 worth of crushing. This is basically in response to a ramp up in the need for crushed aggregate material, given the township work that has come through in May and here again in August. So this kind of material is basically reimbursed as part of our local match program. So we've said so in the financial analysis. Happy to take any questions.
Commissioners, any questions? If not, we'd be looking to send it to the full board.
So moved.
Motion and support. Questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Private road maintenance agreements.
Yes, thank you. This item is basically a cleanup. I guess I call it housekeeping. We've done this for decades. And the last version we saw was 2011, which was prior to departmentalization of the road commission into the county. So we're seeking basically some new language here. Council has reviewed it and found only one minor concern, which we will address, but happy to answer any questions on this. And basically, it looks as worded in the motion to authorize county administrator controller to sign annual renewals of these ongoing, as long as there's no material changes.
So Chris, are there others besides these that'll come along, or are these the only 3 private roads we have these contracts on?
I believe there are a couple others, not a lot, but it's a nice revenue stream, and the agreement is pretty clear about prioritization of public roads first and foremost. In fact, one of the items that we discussed with council is the language about in an emergency event, a disaster countywide, we aren't going to come to the private roads at all. That they have to find alternative means to get issues taken care of there, flooding or snowfall, etc. So.
Okay. Any questions, commissioners? And if not, we'd be looking for a motion to send them to the full board.
Support.
Motion and support. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Eagle Point.
What can I say about Eagle Point? Finally, we have the TCO.
A lot.
Yeah. We're happy to have this in front of you for formal approval. Signs are already up. We proactively put those up once we got the blessing of the Michigan State Police, the long-awaited blessing. I believe if you refresh your board docs, you should see the TCO there. I think that was inadvertently omitted. Do you see it there?
I do not. That was going to be my question to you, but I'd have to log out and then log back in.
Oh,
So
sorry about that.
I was
Yeah.
going to ask you to send that to us, but you've taken care of that. So
Okay, yes, we did notice that this morning in our final review, so that should be there, will be there for, of course, the formal approval of the board. But I'm happy to answer any questions on that. You will see TCOs in the future, by the way, as part of our new procedures.
Commissioners, any questions on this one or TCOs? If not, we'd be looking to send it to the full board for the signature of the chair.
So moved.
Motion and support. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. And long waited. Not the fault of the road department. JC.Act 51.
Thank you. 4I is a routine annual submittal. You'll see, 3 or 4 of these from us. They're just required by statute. This certifies our compliance with the act concerning health insurance coverage for public employees and so forth. So again, we're seeking annual authority for County Administrator Controller to sign this each year. Really nothing changes from year to year. We just have to submit the form to receive our Act 51 funds.
Questions, commissioners? If not, a motion's in order. Motion and support. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Installment purchase agreement.
Thank you. We looked at this at study session briefly, and happy to take any questions on it. The staff report is really unchanged since from what you saw last week.
So Chris, the sequence is you get a rate just before the board meeting the day before, and then if we approve it, then it's locked in then, correct?
Correct. The day of the board meeting, I believe we're opening bids because there's that 24-hour period that's usual and customary to lock in interest rates. Banks don't really want to hold anything longer than that time frame. So we've timed this perfectly, we think perfectly, where we'll let you know by email before the board meeting with our recommendation, and then we'll award the next day with your authorized signature.
Okay, commissioners, any questions on the plan? And if not, looking for a motion.
So moved.
Motion and support. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Monthly report.
Monthly report has been submitted in its 10-page glory, so happy to take any questions on that. I won't read through it for you, but wanted to highlight our Paint to Plow program. I guess is something we're proud of from a community side of things. And then, of course, Robinson Road is complete. That was supposed to have been done before school started. We did our very best. The award through MDOT was delayed due to obligation authority problems at the federal level, not at our level, but we expedited things once we got that authority. And it would have been done, except we were doing something innovative with application of fabric to prevent reflective cracking. And apparently, in talking with the team, the fabric we spec'd was not available until a week later. We chose to wait for the product we wanted, despite the inconvenience. So, happy to take any questions on the overall report.
Chris, I've got 2 quick questions. One was on the Rive Junction Road pathway. When do you see that work being completed, just as an estimate? Not this year?
It'll be next year. We're hoping to get out of the gate early.
Okay.
This is the last discussion I had with the team. I can verify that, though.
Okay. And then the second thing is on the Coates Road project, you guys dug up a 300-gallon tank, it looks like.
Correct.
Or, well, almost 400-gallon tank, 500, I guess. Where was that at? I mean, was that on private property, or was it in the right-of-way, or?
It was in our right-of-way, and as such, it was our obligation. Fortunately, the grant did cover at 80/20 the costs of that, and we did build in a little bit of contingency for things like this. We didn't expect this particular issue, but every project has a little bit of contingency for those things.
How would that have gotten put in our right-of-way, and do we know who put it there? Or is it the business in the background there, or what?
Yeah, historically, I can get specifics on this and email you an update, but it happens oftentimes where former gas stations or heating oil tanks close to the road during winter for offloading materials, they're in the right-of-way prior to, proactive permitting like we do today. So,
Good thing it didn't rupture, huh?
agreed. Yeah. Agreed. We did things right, as you can see from the description. We called, got testing, notified DEQ, went forward with permitting, and so everything was handled on the up and up there.
Okay, commissioners, any questions of Chris on his report? I think I get to pick. Carl?
love that power, don't you? Chris, I just wanted to say, and some of us here are certainly, who are aware of this, are certainly glad to hear this, but the Ann Arbor Road non-motorized path, which has been a very long process. I know I've sent out emails and I've been in close work with your engineers, as you know, and I've said this before, but I just have to give another shout out. I wish we had a crowd full of public here, but your two top engineers, Corey and Angela, have done a wonderful job. I just want to share that with you. And finally, we got everything in place now. I shouldn't say we, but certainly it's been a team effort, but certainly your engineers have been on top of it and in the forefront. And now we've got it all together. We've got everything's ready for obligation, and there'll be shovels in the ground come spring when the weather's nice of 2018. So, and it looks like we may even be able to get some benches down through there potentially. The DDA is doing very well financially, and it looks like we might even be able to have lighting all the way down through that path. So, again, I just thank you and your team. So.
Thank you. Our team continually evolves, and we have 3 people that were just hired, added to the team. So thank you, Carl. I'll pass on the kudos. Thank you.
Chairman Chatwell.
Was approached by residents that live on Kibbe but use Robinson quite a bit. They're very appreciative of the work you've done. With that, there's a caveat though. They're wondering how they work to either get a non-motorized pathway or a bike lane on Robinson Road due to the traffic that is on the road coming from the high school on the corner of Spring Arbor, Robinson, and also the kids there at Dibble to get back into that neighborhood. Just a question, do they contact your office to begin that discussion, or the township, or which way does it go?
Yes and yes. We can certainly spearhead that and begin talks with the township. We're happy to do that.
Okay.
We could also explore the grant programs and possibilities.
And if this construction season is how Jackson roads are going to look going forward, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Your crews and staff need to be congratulated. I think if anyone's driven on any of the either restoned roads or anything, they look like new roads, especially after getting the lines and everything on them this morning.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes.
We hold a high bar of quality, and the staff has really responded. So, thank you.
Commissioners, any other questions for Chris? Rodney?
Park Road, when are we going to get that? I know it's a city's project. We've got skin in the game. Can we drive them folks a little harder to get that wound up? I mean, that's a mess. And to try to have school over there and get buses in and out of that building and vehicle traffic moving around, it shouldn't have never been done this late in the game. Can you help get something happening, moving over there?
Short answer, yes. I will reach out to the city engineer's office today and see what we can do. I think we have a different path forward when it comes to these partnerships. We'll offer some of our resources and or even take the lead on projects like this, especially if we have a majority funding towards the projects. Looking back, we could have offered that, but it is their overall master contract for the trail project, and it was looking, as you recall, it was a change order into that. But we could certainly offer our inspection resources so there are no holdups in the engineering side of things. But my understanding is a problem in scheduling curb and gutter. Is that what you had heard? Yeah.
Pat said that at breakfast on Friday that they ran into some cement under the road. They didn't realize there was a concrete road under the asphalt road, and they had to cut it out and take it all out and put in more aggregate. So I know that slowed them down quite a bit right there.
On our projects moving forward, we do borings. We would have discovered that if it was one of our roads that we were working on. We bore down and we would see that concrete in anticipation of those problems. Thank you for the comments. I will follow up today. Thank you very much.